What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is the Deep Corner, episode 33. I'm Rob St. Clair, and a very special guest today. Joining me all the way from the West Coast, the libero from the Phoenix Ascension, Mr. CJ Suarez. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. I really appreciate it. Just happy to be here. It was such an amazing time over there in Indiana, and I'm glad to, experience this with you.
Thanks, man. It was great to meet you at the event. I'd obviously heard a lot, seen some video, but it was cool to get to know you a little bit during that weekend. And it feels like it's already been forever since we played that thing. But I'm excited to talk about the weekend from your perspective, from the Phoenix perspective. You played a ton of volleyball, and you guys did a lot of really good things. So there's a lot of cool stuff to get to. But first of all, like we were talking a little bit just before this, it's already been 3, maybe 4 weeks since we played that event. Are you already missing volleyball at this point?
Oh my God, you're telling me. As soon as I left Indiana, it's like, wow, I just finished the bronze medal match, and take granted that we won, and we just like it just happened and everything so fast. And now I'm itching to play again. I'm working out, treating it off season and playing a lot of grass volleyball because here in the coast with the pandemic happening, it's crazy right now that everybody's still itching to play, and just doing whatever I can to stay in shape and get ready for the next season.
Yeah, that's a good point looking towards next season because clearly we have a lot to look forward to with the product that we already put out there. So we're going to talk a lot about Phoenix maybe a little bit later on, but I want to start talking about kind of your volleyball origin story. So you grew up just north of LA in SoCal, obviously a huge volleyball hotbed, probably as good as there is nationwide. When was the first time you really touched a volleyball, and then when was the first time you kind of took it seriously?
So my origin, I went to Vertigo Hills High School. It's in the city of Sunland, Tahunga, about 20 minutes away from where I live. I first touched a volleyball in middle school. In 8th grade, it was like a little, colored, theme homeroom class where it was like our mascot was the Mustangs, and then we had a blue versus white class, and I was on the blue class, and we ended up there was multiple sporting events happening depending on you do good in school, and then if you do good, you're eligible to play for these blue and white games, right? And then I first touched the volleyball basically in middle school, playing against the co-ed game, one game only, just 2 out of 3 sets or something like that. And I thought this volleyball game was more of my thing. And then I'm a basketball fanatic. I'm a Lakers fan all the way. I've grown up just playing basketball all my life, and then I first took it seriously when I was all men or most men have said this, what volleyball is a women's sport. Until you see a men's game, it's so fast, it's in a blink of an eye. But right. Going back to what I said, my dad was telling me all his stories when he played in back in Igor High School, and he was telling me all these things of when he would beat this top team and then played against this team, he would lose to this big name team. It just kind of got me going. I was like, you know what, I should try out for volleyball. He's like, yeah, you definitely should try to be a multi-athlete, and see what's out there. And then I was like, okay, then freshman year of high school, I tried out for Vertigo Hills High School, the Dons, under Will Reinhardt and Eric Lamano. They took me in as a JV player at first, and then they recognized my skills, and I became varsity freshman year. It's kind of like a nice recognition, and kind of okay, maybe I could be a little bit good at this sport, because I tried out for the basketball team. I was kind of frosh off, and I kind of stayed the frosh offs, my first year, and I wasn't going to go moving up to JV anytime soon. So I decided to take volleyball, a more year-round sport right then and there. I didn't play club at all my freshman year. And then sophomore year, that's when I kind of took club at the end of that second season, end of my sophomore season of high school. Mm-hmm. You know how there's a winter and then there's a summer, right? SCVA, because SCVA, and I played under Dave Saeta, father of Michael Saeta, who plays for the USA.
Sets for the national team.
Yeah, he coached me since I was since 16s all the way to 18s.
Cool.
And I was originally an outside hitter. I had a little bit of bounce back in the day.
Still do, bro. I wanted to talk about that some. We'll get to that later, but yeah, I was just looking it up before this. You in high school were some like either county or area player of the year or something, some high accolade in high school playing outside hitter, and you're no more than 5'10" even now. That is incredibly impressive.
Well, thank you. As much as I love that recognition and compliment, in the end of the volleyball world, as much as I want to win and everything smooths out, no matter how good or bad you play, the respect is really what I care about from everybody, even including you who runs this whole entire thing. You've seen a lot of volleyball from, many years of passive
I like to
commentating.
think I have, yeah.
Yeah, no, you definitely have. Trust me. You probably seen like all these players, all the way to Russell Holmes, and
Oh
then you
yeah.
got. I'm sure you've seen a lot, and then Ascension playing in the previous league before it, and now here in the VLA. You've seen a lot. You've seen enough to say that like you've seen top-notch volleyball, right? And
Yep.
it means a lot. And then, but yeah, in high school I was mainly actually they were gonna put me middle first.
Oh
That's how
man.
small. As a JV player, I was like, I don't know if I could. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know any better. But then they put me the varsity coach at the time, Will Reinhardt. He was like, put him as an outside. Let him do his thing. Let him be athletic and see what he can do. And then I was like, okay, I'm an outside. So from freshman to senior year, and it was just such a big, the competition in our league was really, really tough, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not trying to back us down with that. With the San Diego County here, I've seen like Otay Ranch, Loyola, and then Mater Dei, Maricosta, all these teams in the West Coast, just dominating the D1 regionals.
Yeah.
But I think I've made my name out there, and the recognition I got was definitely like MVP player of the year for my conference senior year. I ended up clocking 477 kills for a season, and it was almost one of the top breaking things. And I was like the go-to guy. So, being that kind of star in high school, and everybody was like, "That's the go-to guy." To college, I was not the go-to guy at all.
No, and I wanted to ask about that because so you went to Cal State Northridge, a good MPSF program, and it's interesting hearing that because like you took a ton of swings in high school. Clearly, like that kill volume is amazing, and especially coming from a guy your size, you're having to work maybe a little bit harder for each of those points than a guy that's I don't know 6'4", or I'm sure you played against guys a lot
6 foot.
6 foot even.
What? Yeah.
And then you obviously played against guys a lot bigger than that. So when you get to college and it's clear that your path at the NCAA level is probably going to be at playing libero. So what was I want to hear about the mindset switch for that for you, going from scoring a lot of points to scoring no points at all and learning the libero position and where it kind of fits in a team. And we all know how important the position is, but just switching to it from a guy that's used to scoring a lot of points is not an easy thing to do. Talk to me about that a little bit.
So I told myself I'm going to play in the D1 level senior year, right? I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to all these people and see like, hey, do you think I can get like approval from other people? It's like, hey, should I do this? Should I play this position, or should I go to a lower position, which is I want to say a lower position, but a step down of just like not being the guy to score and then be as a libero. And I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna try and see what I could do. And, I contacted Campbell. I don't think he even remembers this. It's funny. But I contacted Campbell, and I was like, hey, do you guys have a spot as an outside? And he's like, I think we do. How tall are you? How tall are you? And I was like, I'm 5'10". He's like, what do you touch? At the time, I was touching about like 10'6", 10'8". And he was like, I don't know, like, and he said this, he's like, we need guys touching like 11'3", 11'6".
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's not me right now.
No.
So I was like, it was kind of like a demoralizing thing. So this is freshman year. I contacted him, as the summer was going on. I had a guy on the team that I kind of knew from, his name's Chance Ernest. He played for the team a couple years and then kind of, decided to do more school and focus on himself. And I was just like contacting him here and there, like, what does it take to be an outside, this and that. And he's like, dude, you have to have a 40+ inch vertical. You got to do what he says, and you got to play like out of your mind. Like short people hit. You got to be the most craftiest player and be able, like a Taylor Craft. That's like the best I can explain. An All-American guy who's like undersized and doing well in the AVP right now.
Yep, very well.
So now, like as I'm progressing through my freshman year, I did not play at all my freshman year of college.
Yeah, you redshirted, right?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all. I didn't gray shirt. I didn't red shirt.
Oh.
I had a buddy named Alex Sanchez. He played for Pierce College, and I had a buddy named Daniel Jacobs. My teammate Daniel Jacobs, right?
Teammate now, yeah.
Yeah, teammate now, right? Him, me, and a guy named Max States. We played morning to 2 open gyms later every single day. So morning at the beach at 7 to 8 a.m. and then we would eat whatever, like a Chipotle or something, and then go to an open gym, whatever we can find just to get better. And I give it almost all of my credit to them, along with the coaches I've had, but they really, really helped me be the one players I am today, because they gave it to me, like, for real, like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Don't do this. They just manhandled me to the core that I had to reinvent myself somehow. Right. And I was just reinventing myself freshman year. And then I gave an email saying, actually, no, I'm sorry. Will Reinhardt, my high school coach, saw Jeff Campbell and Theo Edwards at a passing clinic. And then he was like, hey, do you guys need a libero? And they're like, yeah, just tell the guy to send footage. And then literally that same day, he told me, you got to send footage right now to Jeff Campbell. And I sent footage of organizational tournaments, specifically West Side Volleyball. That's what we have here. And they were really good. And I just sent a lot of service from my high school to freshman year of college and just bundled up a bunch of service digging. And I sent it. I threw it on the table, right?
Yeah.
And I had Theo Edwards was like, hey, come meet me at this time at my office, and then this and that, right? I was like, wow, did that really just work? So I go, and he's like, yeah, you're CJ, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like all nervous, just trying to, because I had to work my ass off to get to where, even to that office,
right?
So I was talking to Theo. He's like, yeah, we have these open gyms for the season team, and then you just play with them, try to see how you feel, and then go from there. And they saw, and then eventually we had like practices, and believe it or not, my tryout, there was 5 liberos on the team. My tryout,
5. Whoa.
There was 5 liberos. Yeah, no, I'm not joking. There was 5 liberos at the time. One of them actually moved to an outside spot, and then there was 3. 5 liberos, including me, were duking it out for that season. Okay, so this is my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I had another guy who was also trying out, but he eventually got cut. And so that cut it down to 4. And then it was like October. They were getting the gear, getting ready for the season, for UCLA tournament, and I didn't get my gear. I was like, yo, what's going on? Right?
Yeah.
And Theo was like, you didn't make the team yet. I was like,
yeah.
Whoa, what do you mean? I didn't make the team yet. He's like, yeah, we don't have gear for you yet. You still got the end of the semester. I was like, what? My tryout is 3 months? Seriously? And then, and then 2 months have passed. I was on a ball. Those serving machines? Have you ever seen one before?
Of course.
Those serving machines that just float serve,
yeah.
toss me left, toss me right, float serve. Oh my God. I was just like, this is like
every college team's got one of those.
Yeah. And then, and then so literally finals ends for that semester. He was like, you made the team. and then I redshirted that year. And
Yeah.
it's a funny thing too because I didn't. It's even Theo knows this, and I told him secretly. I didn't go much of the games. I took the serving machine. I went to another gym, and I just served. I just wanted to work on my game, my serve receive game, the entire time. I was doing my best, and then like summer hits, school's over, season's over. I go play beach. I played this. I grinded my butt off, and then I ended up becoming a starter throughout the rest of my year.
Yeah.
Since my eligibility of being a full-time student, the clock was really, really wacky. So I only played 4 years in D1, which I could have done the 5 years. But my clock started for the D1.
Right.
That was the issue. And so 2 years after I redshirted, I was a defensive libero primarily. My service game wasn't the top notch in the league yet. I don't think I was. They didn't really believe in me that I was a good serve receive. And then funny thing is, my senior year when I became a full-time libero, 2 of the top liberos in the team, I'm talking about the season team, they quit.
Quit straight up.
They quit. So they're familiar names of Nick Allegrado, and who is a really, really, really good libero, along with Bradley Sakata. He quit. They both quit because of school. They wanted to focus on school, not because of Campbell or Theo or like the team itself. They loved us, but they just wanted to focus on them so that they can focus on a good career. But what the resulted of them quit, I was like, CJ, you're the next man up. I was like, oh, all right, sick. So crappy part of it all is like I didn't really earn my spot. You get me? So it's like I go in, I'm like, okay, I'm the next man up. I gotta prove myself. I haven't really proved myself to be a service libero. And then that year, this is when TJ DeFalco, Long Beach State was like, they Josh Tunigo, Kyle Ensing, you got the UCI guys, you got UCLA,
the NCAA and
Asians.
The West Coast in particular was
the
so
West Coast,
stacked that year.
I literally played all MPSF conference until after my year, which I left. They went to the Big West.
Right.
So I'm not bagging on the Big West Conference. It's still a really, really tough league. I just think that the MPSF, we were playing the top dogs from Pac-12 and beyond. It was insane. But I ended up being one of the top 5, top 6 digs per set that year. And then I got compliments from Tyler Hildebrand himself. He was saying like
big name.
Yeah, it was a huge name. He came after me my last game against Long Beach. It was like, damn, we got pooped on. It was in the greatest game.
Everyone lost the Long Beach.
Yeah, it was that year
no
where
shame.
like Long Beach was like smacking everybody. So he came up to me. He came under the net. He put his arm over me. He's like, hey, you had a great effing season. I still think you're one of the best liberos in the nation. He said that to me, and I took that to heart, and I still will never forget that. And balling, and season's over, all this and that. So it was nice that I was able to get that. Theo said that I probably could have gotten All-American mention for playing so well in the conference, but we didn't make playoffs. So
right.
It didn't happen. But he said that if I had one more year, I would definitely be up there with the All-Americans.
That's very, very high praise and a great story of putting in just a ton of work. You talked about your freshman year, how much work you put in. You said like by senior year, you said you didn't earn your spot because it kind of fell to you from a couple guys leaving the team. I would kind of disagree with that. I think you earned your spot very much by putting yourself in the position for that to fall to you, and then you took advantage. So you deserve a lot of credit for that, and that's a really cool story. And
thank you.
Spurred you on to getting picked up by a Phoenix team that I want to talk about in just a little bit. But first, I have to subject you to this little bit of like rapid fire questions that I asked to a bunch of the people on my show. So I'm just going to give you this list of like really, really fast questions. Give me the first thing that comes to your head, and then we'll move on. You ready for it?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Early mornings or late nights?
I prefer early mornings for productivity.
You're crazy. I can't believe that. All right. Best pregame, like pump up song or artist?
Bruno Mars, definitely.
Nice one. Best day of the week.
I'm gonna say Friday.
Okay, stuff block or service ace.
Stuff block or service a stuff block for sure.
Nice. Best post game meal.
Best post game meal. Definitely like a pasta or something to recuperate all the carbs and specifically me, I'm like running through the core and yelling at the top of my lungs.
Yep,
It's just a bunch of that.
that's a common one.
Yeah,
What's the hardest position in volleyball?
libero.
I kind of agree, honestly. It's the only one that
It's such a
I really can't do it.
it's a skill that it's so heavily abundant for each skill. Serve, receive, serve, and digging and setting.
Hard,
And
really, really
it's
hard.
it's a if you can be athletic, you can be athletic, and you can. We're going to put you at the right side. We're going to put you in the middle. We're going to put you in an outside. But if you don't have the mental game, that's it. You got to have a mental game of an elite libero.
I agree. Yeah, I am fascinated to talk to liberos for that exact reason because it's the biggest part of the game that I don't really personally understand from experience. I think it's amazing what you guys do. All right, favorite jersey number.
I'm going to go with one because of how much success I've gone.
That was my favorite as well. Good choice. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite sports team of any sport?
Lakers basketball.
Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, favorite athlete in any sport?
Kobe Bryant.
Great
Rest in
one.
peace.
Great one. Absolutely. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Definitely fly.
I mean, you're pretty close already. Let's be serious.
Thanks, appreciate that.
What sport are you the best at other than volleyball?
Does video games count? No, just
Not
kidding.
quite.
Definitely not a gamer as much as I am anymore. I would definitely say basketball might be my next game up.
Sure. Beach or mountains?
Beach,
What's your favorite color?
blue.
And what's stronger for you, loving winning or hating losing?
Oh man, I think loving winning because man, do I hate to lose. Do I hate to lose? Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's both, but the one that pushes someone over the edge more than another is really interesting to me. I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely loving to win because but I know how to give myself self-respect of losing. I know how
Uh-huh.
to accept it.
Yeah, winning's pretty awesome. I agree with that. So the Phoenix Ascension is a squad that has existed for several years under several different names. Like they used to be Arizona Sizzle all the way back in the PVL days. Like your captain Vince, who I've had on this show a few times, has been super involved with the Arizona scene forever and ever. And the team's seen a bunch of different iterations, played a bunch of different leagues. What I'm wondering is how you got connected with those guys, because you're not an Arizona guy, you're from SoCal, but you were a huge piece in that Ascension team that played in Indiana a couple weeks ago, and you will continue to be that like next season and beyond, I am sure. So, what was your connection to the Phoenix Ascension?
Uh, well, if you guys aren't familiar, I used to play for a team called Ruckus.
Oh yeah,
Ruckus is a big name in the especially in Hawaii because I I played with Surge already. He was the
Serge
first.
Nadasdin, yeah.
Yeah, um, and he was like, they were telling me all this stuff like, hey, come play with us. We'll do the best we can, and and we've been winning tournaments here and there, and winning and getting second, and then but how I got introduced to it was through Adult Nationals last year,
Okay,
2019 Adult Nationals when Ruckus made a medal run to second place. Um, Ruckus, a bunch of the Ruckus guys, Mark Olson, Joe Kalikamoa, Taylor Harrington, Serge himself, and there's another guy I know I'm missing, but just the Ruckus crew that played the Phoenix Ascension group that played in the Ruckus tournament that last year. they were like, dude, they were praising me like, hey man, you're good. And I was like, yeah, dude, you guys play for NVA. NVA at the time it was still happening. He's like, yeah, but I think where everybody's moving to VLA now, we're trying to start our own league. It's like dope. It's like, you guys need a libero.
Oh,
Right?
sure, yeah.
Kind of like I slipped myself in, and then I was talking to Joe because Joe's just a stud. Since
Joe's amazing.
BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was first Taylor. He's like, dude, I play with a bunch of liberos, and since I play with you, I'm like, I don't want to play with anybody else. You got to play for us. I will talk to Vince. You got to play for us. I was like,
Yep.
okay. It was kind of like, oh, all right. Like I didn't think that was going to happen. And then I was asking Serge about it. He's like, that's when I said, like, do you guys need a libero? He's like, yeah, I mean, our libero is good right now, but I think, I think you got what it takes to play for this league. And and then he said he was talking to Vince, and I talked to Mark about it. He's like, dude, this is exactly what he's like, dude, yes. Such a like a 2-word thing was so strong.
That's
I told
simple.
Joe, and I was talking to Joe. He's like, we'll talk to Vince, and I was like, well, us four will vouch for you. Mark,
Yeah.
Serge, and Joe. And then that's when I hollered at Vince through Facebook, and he's like, yeah, dude, why not? We're going to be in the scrimmage in against Long Beach, which was the beginning of last year in October,
Right.
and you should come through, and we'll play you a couple sets and then see how it goes. And that's how it technically all happened.
Yep.
Especially it helped a lot when I got the recognition of all tournament team for adult nationals last year.
That is a big one, and yeah, you're right. That the Ruckus squad has a lot of overlap with the Ascension roster, and that's a pretty good way to get in. And that Long Beach scrimmage, which anyone can still watch on our YouTube channel, by the way, like kind of the first real proof of concept for VLA volleyball on the court, which has now
Yeah.
already evolved so much. That's a and obviously you made a name for yourself doing that, which is pretty cool. So I want to talk about the tournament that the Ascension had in Indiana. It ended up with a bronze medal, which I think is a pretty nice way to walk away from that whole thing. But just going match by match, I've watched back most of the matches by now after they've all happened. They're really fun to go back and rewatch. I encourage anyone else to go back and check out the YouTube channel, rewatch the matches. They're all on there. They're free, so go do it if you missed any of the volleyball. But there was so much great stuff that happened, and all of it started off with you guys playing against Team Pineapple in the first match of the weekend, and you took it to them 3-0. But not only did you beat them 3-0, it wasn't like a boring 3-0, like it was never close.
Yeah.
Actually, I think set 1 you were down 23-19, came back won 25-23. Set 3 you were down maybe 24-19. I think you came back 26-24. Like there were some crazy late set runs, and like I know you guys got a little bit of practice time in the gym before. I don't even know if you were around for those, but that must have been a pretty nice way to kick off the weekend, huh?
Yeah, we in the sense of like practicing with the guys specifically, I did not practice with Phoenix Ascension at all
Yep.
prior. But me and Daniel Jacobs specifically, we ran a little bit of our little private open gyms, just to kind of get a bunch of our guys that play high level stuff. We just got a lot of reps that way and made sure me and him were on the same team. As I played libero, he played outside, and those Phoenix guys were just playing with each other then, and it really helped a lot. And me and Daniel are very, very flexible guys that just know how to adapt very, very, very quickly. And Daniel himself in that third set, when he got that 7-point run.
That's
with
right.
that
It was
serve,
his serve. It was his serve with that comeback.
yeah, he got that serving run and just took another level. Got them out of system. I got a couple digs. Joe got a couple of blocks. Mark got a couple. Just a lot of things that just added up in the end, and that's when we like finally meshed well. And then, in result, Daniel got player of the match that game, and it was just awesome to see my friend prevail in that sense.
He did, and yeah, it was well deserved. That's one everyone needs to go back and rewatch that one. Those late set runs you guys made were really memorable and just so much fun to watch. Like you're down 24-19. you almost never win that set. That's like a borderline miracle coming back from that deficit.
It's
And you guys did it
a
pretty
lot.
much twice in one match.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a way to kick off the weekend. So then you played a couple hours later. You played Team LVC, who was stacked and like ready to come in and really dominate in that event. And you went down 2-0. But then all of a sudden, the match looked like it might have been about to be over. I think LVC had a match point or two in set 3, but you guys brought it all the way back. You won set 3 in extra points. You destroyed them in set 4, and then set 5 could have gone either way. And I know it didn't go your way, but that was one of my favorite matches of the weekend, just because it started off like we all kind of knew how this might have been about to go, and then you guys completely flipped the script. That was really interesting to me. So what do you remember about that one in a few short words?
So we wanted to see, it was a different lineup, and we wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that we had our service heap solid. So Vince was just telling me like, hey, you're gonna go win again. I was like, are you sure you want to play Brad? He was the other libero at the time, and he's like, no, we're gonna change it up a little bit, and then we're gonna keep the service heap, as best as we can. So it was me, Joe, and another guy named Sam Haggard.
Sam had a
Yeah,
great weekend too.
he had a he was awesome to play with.
Yeah.
Great teammate. Him and I were going yelling at each other's faces. It was awesome, right? So we going to that match. It was kind of like, okay, let's do the best we can and stay composed and stay hyped whenever we need to get hyped. And I was just doing the best I can to really run the defense.
Like the service eve pattern, yeah.
Um, Going into that third set, it was kind of at the point of my time where, as a libero specifically, I was just trying to tell them like, hey, do we want it a little bit more, or we're just gonna let this grow and then we can just go to the next day. So we made the sub with Daniel because Brian was playing right side, and Daniel just, me and Daniel were just trying to figure out what to do. Daniel was making a lot of defensive plays, and then Joe was making a lot of defensive plays, and then I made defensive plays as well. It's just like we were able to keep the ball alive, just to help our team, our offense specifically, just get the hang of it.
Yeah.
We were able to run the middles a lot more, and that was just our bread and butter. It was like if we get a good dig, good pass, Vince is just going to set the middle from even 15 feet off the net.
Yeah, Vince sure did that, like, man. He was really shooting him in there.
Yeah, exactly. He guns it to Mark and I think Connor. Yeah, and going to that fifth set, we were just like, we just try to duke it out. It was like back and forth at one point, and then all of a sudden LVC just goes on a roll, but we hung in there as much as we could, and it ended up being like 15-12, 15-13.
Yep.
But it was like literally after the game, everybody was like, dude, that was so much fun. Like,
oh yeah,
everybody was bringing so much energy to the core. It was crazy. I loved it. I loved that.
That was a fun one. Another one worth going back and rewatching. And since you had already beaten Pineapple, that loss, like as far as the standings went, didn't really hurt you all that much. But it's clear that the team took a lot of learning from it, and you got to use a little bit of the depth and got to try some different things. And yeah, that one was really fun to watch. Like I said, definitely worth going back and rewatching. So that was it for your first day. And the second day, you kind of knew already from where the team stood after day one that you were about to play Chicago, and you kind of knew already that you were going to play them again in the semifinals the next day. And I had Wyzorek on the show from Chicago. I had Marshman on the show from LVC, who they had the same situation between them and Pineapple, where those last couple matches of pool play, we kind of already knew the results from. Like, we already knew who was going to play in the first round of bracket, which is really interesting because both teams, or all four teams, did really interesting things with like lineups and strategy for those. And you guys were, in my opinion, the most notable because let me see if I can remember. Connor Doherty, a middle, played outside. You a libero, played some outside.
Yeah.
Joe Kawayakamoa, who I've gushed over like constantly about how good of a setter he is, even though he played outside, he got to set a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a crazy like shuffling of the lineup, and there was really no reason why not, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah. Just
match didn't really matter in the standings all that much, and it was funny because those changes that you made after the first set, a more conventional lineup, the Icemen kind of rolled you guys with just a bunch of momentum and big, strong serving and blocking and everything, and then you
yeah.
made those changes and you gave them a different look, and it just generated energy and chemistry in a weird way, and I was just so fascinated by that. So at the VLA level, you got to play some outside hitter, and
Yeah.
you really held your own, man. What was that like? How much fun was that for you?
Oh my God. I was telling Vince, it's like, can I go in? Can I go in?
Please, please,
Can
please,
I go,
please.
let me go in.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where the second set, this is the pool play match, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. This last pool
the
play match.
second set, I was like, let's rest Joe for the last second set, and then so it just saves his legs, right? And then he ended up setting that third set. Oh my gosh, I was so hyped. I mean, I got tooled quite a bit of times by Starkey, a former teammate of mine.
Right.
Love the guy. He, just brings a lot of competitiveness. If you've seen the videos, and sometimes me and him are just like slapping hands across the court just because it's so much fun
Of
right now.
course.
I was just having a blast, but as soon as I got there, my one job, I just brought the libero outside of me. It just brought
Yep.
the energy, and it just sparked them. I was Zach, our setter at the time. He was like, "Dude, I love your energy. Just keep talking to me what I need to do, and I'll do it." I was just giving him like, a coach told me is like, as a libero, you have pawns. You got to use your pawns to as the best you can. And I was like, so I have the authority to do that. And
Yeah,
he's like,
you do.
yeah, you have the authority. You run the back row. I was like, okay, let me take that as an outside. It's like, hey, do this, do that. I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna cover that. So I was giving everybody a single pathway. So it just gives them an incentive to do something that way, and then we just work around it. So the giving them that confidence and then yelling at their faces like just to get
Just get
hype
them
for
hyped. Yeah.
anything, right? It just helped. It helped them. I just tried to be a great team. I just give them that spark that the team needed. And then the third set, I got a couple kills. I got one good kill, and then I got a windmill kill. I don't know how
You
I got
did
that
get a
kill.
windmill kill, and then you had a crazy run of a couple aces in a row too, I think.
Yeah, it was funny too. Now going back to the aces, I pointed at you. It's like that was for you.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I got like three aces in a row.
Yeah.
It was nice, but then we still ended up losing like 25, like 20. Not like we didn't get smoked, but it was still a fun match to relive and kind of show them what I got. And then like yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It
Yeah.
was funny because
That
like Mike Pelly and Eric Martin, they were sitting at our bench and we were doing warm ups. I was just, I'm hitting this game and I'm hitting like 5-footers. And then they're like, dude, who hurt you? I was like, I was like, my mom. I just made a joke out of it. So it was really really funny that like I can show what I'm capable of.
Yeah, I love Ian Pelly too. Those guys are both veterans
Yeah.
of the show, or at least soon to be.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a fun one. It's cool to hear you talk about transitioning from libero to the outside in that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
then the next day you played Iceman again, and the stakes were very different. It was the semifinals. It was kind of all out. It was not winner goes home, but loser goes home, but loser is out of contention for the win on the weekend. And that was just kind of a different Iceman team that you faced, and I don't know if there was a whole lot that anybody could have done to beat them on that particular day. But one thing that I have been praising your team of the entire time since that weekend is how unbelievably well you guys defended. You guys played some of the best defense I have ever seen at like the professional college or whatever above level in the men's game. It was incredible how many balls you guys dug. And maybe the difference, like I think Chicago dug a lot of balls too, but they were off of a lot of block touches and they turned them into offense pretty easily. Your guys' digs were just straight up like hard driven ball, crazy diving layout, just straight up digs. I think you guys had more digs on the stat sheet than anyone the whole weekend. That was amazing to me. And it's only a matter of time until those really turn into a lot more points than just free balls. But that was something that really impressed me. So by the time you guys got to the bronze medal match against Team Pineapple, that was an opportunity to really take those defensive touches that you guys were making the whole tournament and turn them into points. And I think you really did that. What do you remember about that match at the very end of the weekend, walking away with a win?
So just to go back on the Chicago game for playoffs, I know we didn't convert a lot of points, but the idea of that game was just, I know we're losing, and I know we're not doing so high. We're not hitting. We're not blocking too high. Our blocking scheme's a little funky, but I was trying to take my team to get a momentum for the next match. That was the best thing I could do. Just like, hey, we're all pissed. We should have been in the finals. We should have, like how anybody was like, we should be here, we should be there. But, in the reality, we didn't, and we were sad, and we lost one of our hitters, Daniel, because he strained something in his quad, and he didn't play the entire playoffs, and he was like super bummed. He was not feeling good. Like he was headache. Like that's how bad the pain was. And, we were just trying to give him some meds to kind of help him out. And then going into this Pineapple, we're like, hey, look, this is the squad we got now. We're going to get a win out of this. Even though it's a bronze, we got to show up. And we really did. The most memorable the most memorable play of mine of that match was the chest stick I got.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't convert to our point, but it was memorable because I was having a great defensive weekend itself, and it kind of just showed that like I'm in the right spot every time, and it just like everybody went nuts. But even though it didn't convert towards our point, everybody was like, "Dude, that was insane. That was sick." And then you came up to me, he's like, "Bro, what was that?"
I do remember that one.
It's just like and then like it just turned out to be our game when Lloyd Ball was, I was nervous because like, oh, dude, the Olympic gold medalist is just, is gonna, try to beat us and not get fourth. But we were able to hold our own even with him. And then he ended up not playing that third set, and we just played our game, and it was so much fun to get that win and end off a win. And I was just telling my teams like, hey, look, we did not get the thing that we want, but we have enough pride to just like, hey, we ended off on a win. Let's get out of here. Let's go celebrate somewhere, and then boom.
You did. That was a great way to end the weekend. Not everybody can end the weekend on a win, and you guys did. I think it was a great start for this kind of new look Phoenix Ascension team. Missing a couple pieces, having to move things around, deal with a couple injuries, the whole thing. And you guys turned that into an incredibly positive weekend and put on a great show for the whole league to watch. So like I said, all those matches are on our YouTube channel where many of you are watching this, so you can go back and rewatch them. They are all worth a rewatch or several. I've loved going back and watching them again. It was an amazing weekend, and CJ really made a name for yourself, man. You really did. I was so impressed with all that you did for your team on that whole weekend. So congratulations again. And before we get you out of here, give me a really, really quick, like, what are you up to now? Where can the people follow you? And what are your, like, how excited are you for the future of the VLA, I guess?
So, where they can find me, I have an Instagram. It's CJ_Suarez_. You can find me on the profile page of VLA.
Yep.
I also have a Facebook if you guys want to follow me as well. I don't really like try to promote myself in the sense of like social media. I kind of do it as more like, this is my life going on. Since this whole pandemic happening, I've been relying on unemployment right now. I used to be a physical therapy aide, trying to go get my doctorate in physical therapy eventually in the future. So what I'm excited for VLA, I think this team, I think every team is going to be able to progress even further, considering that we are partnered with USA Volleyball themselves, and the JVA. It's incredible what we have accomplished in a matter of what we've been given, and we played our cards correctly so far.
Well said.
And I'm excited for the Ascension team, the Rising Tides team that didn't unfortunately come to play due to this the fear of the COVID happening, and players weren't so committed, and then all this stuff. But I'm sure we're going to see them next year.
Oh yeah.
LVC is just going to be stacked. Chicago Iceman is the number one team to beat right now because they won the entire thing. And Pineapple, they have a big roster and they have a gold medalist, so they're going to be like, hey, come play for me. So it's just going to be insane how much we're going to get so much content next year, and how this league is just going to progress from here on out. Even with just the videos with the G corner, it's going to be amazing.
I agree, man. Well said. It was a great weekend that we had. It was great to have you as a part of it. Thank you so much for hopping on the show. We have so much to look forward to for the future. This man a follow. And until next time, everyone, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. CJ, thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob.